are. Matt here with your devotional, encouraging you to do all that you do to the glory of God. Well, for several months now, I've been personally studying some of the philosophical works of Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas was a Dominican friar, a Catholic priest, and one of the most influential Christian philosophers and theologians in history. He lived in the 13th century and argued that faith and reason are not opposed to one another, rather they work together. And with this presupposition, Aquinas developed powerful arguments for the existence of God based on logic and observation of the natural world. Aquinas grappled with questions which form the basis of the branch of philosophy called metaphysics. Now, metaphysics is a branch of philosophy which asks questions such as, what is being? What kind of things exist? How do things which change also stay the same? And what does it mean for one thing to cause another? In short, metaphysics is a study of the most fundamental aspects of reality. What exists, what it means to exist, and what kinds of things exist. Now, his first major philosophical treatise, a book entitled On Being and Essence, lays the groundwork for much of his later thinking in both philosophy and theology. In this book, Aquinas explores the fundamental metaphysical distinction between essence, what a thing is, and existence, that a thing is. So let's think about this by way of analogy. Imagine a unicorn. What are some of the properties of a unicorn? Well, we could say it's a horse-like animal. Perhaps it's white, has a single horn. It's magical, it's fast, etc. But you and I know that unicorns don't exist in reality. And this is the basis of the essence and existence distinction. We can understand and articulate the essence of a unicorn, what it is, but its existence, that it is, has no basis in the world God created. So how did Aquinas use this distinction between a thing's essence and its existence to reason to God? Now, consider real beings like you, me, or a tree. We also have an essence, or whatness, and we exist. But the key difference is that our existence is not guaranteed by our essence. In other words, just because something that has the qualities that make it what it is, or its essence, that does not mean it must exist. For example, you and I could have the essence of being human. We have the qualities that make us human, but our existence is not guaranteed. We might not have existed at all, or we could have existed differently. A tree's essence is what makes it a tree, its branches, leaves, roots, etc. But this essence doesn't mean it necessarily exists in any given moment. If conditions hadn't been right, that particular tree might not have come into existence. Now, the distinction between essence and existence points out that we and everything in the world are contingent beings. Contingent means that our existence depends on external factors, things like the right conditions, causes, or prior events. We could have been different, or we could have not existed at all. In contrast, a necessary being is one whose existence isn't contingent upon anything else. It has to exist because its essence entails existence. Because we are contingent beings, or beings whose existence depends on external factors, it is necessary for our existence to be brought into being by something else. We don't exist by our own nature. We receive our existence from another. In other words, Matt gets his existence from his parents, and my parents from their parents, and their parents from theirs, and so on. Because of this, Aquinas reasoned that there must be a being whose essence, what it is, must be equal to his existence, that it is, as the foundation of being itself. If this was not the case, you would have an infinite regress of beings who receive their existence from something else. But why must there be a necessary being whose essence is its existence? Why couldn't it be the case that things which come to exist just go back to infinity? Think of it like a domino effect. Each domino in the chain, representing a contingent being, falls because it's knocked over by the previous domino. If there's no first domino to knock over the others, then the whole chain of falling dominoes never starts. The whole chain is dependent on the first one, and without it, the entire chain would not exist. In the same way, the entire series of contingent beings depends on a first cause or necessary being to get the chain of existence started. If every being is contingent, then there is no ultimate cause for the chain, and nothing could exist at all. The necessary being is the first cause that ensures the chain has a starting point. Or think about it in terms of trying to explain the lamp in a room by saying the light is powered by a cord, the cord from the outlet in the wall by the power plant, but never arriving at a generator. Without something that has existence by its very essence, there would be nothing at all. Therefore, there must be a being whose essence is existence. This being doesn't receive existence from another, it is existence. Its essence equals existence. It cannot not exist. This is what Aquinas calls the act of being itself, and this being is God. Again, this distinction between essence and existence lays the groundwork for Aquinas' philosophy. And through this argument, Aquinas shows that through observation of the real world, we can reason our way to a being whose essence it is to exist, which we call God. So why does this matter for us? Well, let's think again of our analogy of a lamp. Imagine a lamp sitting on a table. It has everything it needs to shine: bulb, wiring, a switch. But if it's not plugged into the wall, it doesn't turn on. The lamp's essence is to be something that gives light. But that doesn't mean it shines on its own. It needs power from something else to actually light it up. You and I are like the lamp. We might be made to love, think, grow, but we don't exist or stay alive just because of ourselves. We need to be plugged into the source of life, and that source is God, whose very nature is existence. He doesn't need to be plugged into anything. He is the power. In Acts chapter 17, verse 28, it says, "For in him we live and move and have our being." Just like the lamp can't shine on its own, we exist because God powers our being. John chapter 1, verses 3 through 4, "Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life." Christ is the eternal life source of all creation. Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 through 17, "All things were created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together." God doesn't just create. You continue existing because of him. Now, I'm certainly no expert on Thomas Aquinas. Many pages of ink have been spilled commenting on the importance of his work. But reading Aquinas, and I would expand this to reading theology and philosophy in general, is important for us as it helps us to engage in a deeper, more thoughtful exploration of who God is. Aquinas offers a systematic way of thinking about God's existence, his attributes, and relationship to the world. His integration of faith and reason opens up a world where both the intellect and the heart are drawn into the mystery of God. Engaging with Aquinas allows us to think more clearly and profoundly about how God reveals himself, and how he interacts with the world, and how we should respond to him. Through Aquinas, we see that the pursuit of God is not just a matter of belief, but an intellectual journey that has the power to transform our lives and deepen our love for God. Well, Lord willing, I'll see you on Sunday. God bless.